Today, we'll be looking into the evolving landscape of the mining industry. We stand on the brink of transformative changes that promises to redefine how we think about mining, not just as a sector, but as a responsible steward of resources and as a catalyst for sustainable development. As has been mentioned by many of our speakers this morning, the mining sector faces unprecedented challenges, ranging from resource depletion and environmental concerns to the demands for technological advancements and community investment and inclusion, as well as geopolitical challenges and global macroeconomic challenges as well. Yet, within all these lies a wealth of opportunity for innovation and collaboration that can catalyze sustainable growth and support greater participation in the ecosystem. Smart partnerships are essential as we navigate these complexities. By fostering alliances across industries, we can unlock new opportunities for efficiencies and stability. Given the current state of the diamond industry, or the mining sector in general, but the diamond industry in particular, in Botswana, these discussions have never been more critical. And so I have the pleasure of welcoming on stage 4 leaders in their respective sectors that are relevant to the mining industry, who are not only leaders in their sectors, but are actually leaders in the private sector in Botswana across the board. It gives me great pleasure to welcome on stage Goitseone Gadifele, General Manager of Jwaneng Mine. Mr. Charles Siwawa, CEO of Botswana Chamber of Mines. Re Mpho Masupe, CEO of Standard Chartered Bank, Botswana. And Mr. Mishek Tsekedi, CEO of Botswana Oil. Gentlemen, you're welcome. Let me start with you, Re Siwawa. Mining has been the backbone of Botswana's economy since independence. And we've seen the emergence of more players and the potential for the discovery of new minerals. I think the last presentation really articulated that very well. What is the future of Botswana's mining industry, and where do you see opportunities?
Well, I hope you can hear me. Well, I think for starters, we have to understand that minerals are not forever. You look for minerals, you find them, you mine them, and there will come a time when those minerals are not there. So you need to look at other ways. So the important thing that we need to do, and I'm glad that the previous speaker, the CEO of BGI, did actually elaborate on this particular aspect, is to look at other minerals that are there within Botswana. And make no mistake, there are lots of minerals out there in Botswana. And we just have got to discover them, to explore them and discover them, and mine those minerals. And I think the government has also made the process a lot more efficient by making sure that the database is there. When you go into exploration, and whatever you find or you don't find, that database must go to Botswana Geoscience Institute for future mineral exploration companies. They've done also a lot of geophysical work across the country, and we now have got what is called the mining cadastral system, where you can actually look for a mineral deposit without necessarily being on site. So you can be sitting here in Gaborone and you actually say, I want to go and explore for diamonds in this particular area, and the whole process is done for you without you actually being on site. So it's important that we actually go out there to explore for these minerals, to replace those minerals that are being depleted. And I must emphasize that it takes a long time. It's no less than 10 years from the start of exploration to actually placing your first mineral onto the plant. Some go to 15, some 20 years, once you're actually exploring and coming to production. So it's important that we now need to look at other ways to replace the minerals that are already in place. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Resiwawa. And indeed, you're very correct. Mining is a long-term game. And so I think that's a great segue into a question to you, Gadifele. Debswana has been the cornerstone of Botswana's economy. However, amid the global challenges in the diamond market, how is the company adapting to ensure continued economic contribution and resilience?
Thank you very much. The fact is that the successful story of our beautiful Republic of Botswana can never be told without the mention of Debswana. And Debswana, through mining of its diamonds, has been the engine of the economy of this country. However, as much as we celebrate the strength of diamond impact into this country, we also appreciate the vulnerability at which the country is currently facing in over-reliance to diamonds. Therefore, as Debswana, we continue to remain resilient because we mine these diamonds from the bottom of our heart. Because each and every single Botswana has got a relationship with a diamond. So as miners who are mining those diamonds that we know they drive this economy, we try by all means to ensure that whatever the challenges that we face, for example, the current market or aggressive market landscape, we continue to come up with ways and means to ensure that Debswana continues to prosper and feed this nation. We do that through operational excellency and cost effectiveness to ensure that we remain competitive into the market. And we also embrace digital transformation and innovation to ensure productivity as well as to ensure that we reduce our unit cost. Last year, we have just delivered our 5-year strategy, which we call One Dream, One Team. That strategy has actually delivered 10 billion pula cash savings. And we have done that deliberately because we knew that eventually the diamond market will be shaking as is. We built that culture of cost effectiveness. And as we also do that, we continue to diversify the economy by ensuring that we support local procurement. And we will be now getting into the second stage of now ensuring that we handhold citizens to ensure that they join industrialization. And one thing that we are also looking at is the future. We have got a target. 2030, we need to be carbon neutral. So therefore, the journey has already started. A good example is our partnership, which we have done recently with BPC. So we want to be carbon neutral, and we are very intentional to ensure that we reduce our carbon footprint. Hence, that partnership, and we know that we will leverage a lot from it, and it will ensure that by 2030, we'll be carbon neutral, and the diamonds will still be relevant into the market. And the other thing is that the shareholders, they are very confident despite the challenges that we are currently going through. A good example is the injection of capital, 13.6 billion pula into Jwaneng underground project. And to tell you the truth, it's not easy to start an underground mine on a good footing. But because, like I said, we are mining our diamonds from the bottom of our hearts, I'm happy to announce that our project is 14% ahead of schedule. But why? Because we know what it means. We are currently mining an open pit, which is the biggest open pit, which produces valuable stone across the world. And we need a smooth transition between this open pit and underground. So therefore, for that smooth transition to happen is to ensure that there's no revenue gap. And for us to ensure that there's no revenue gap, we have to make sure that the underground project is way ahead of schedule. And this underground project is coming up with a lot of benefits to Botswana. So far as we speak, we have already employed 215 people. And 72% of that is Botswana, and 58 of them are foreign nationals, and rightfully so, because our underground is way too advanced and mechanized. So we are also looking at, actually we have launched our transition strategy, and that strategy is actually aligned to the current business turbulence. And this strategy is looking at, or is aligned to the Honorable Minister of Minerals, Honorable Minister of Finance, as he delivers the budget speech. So he talks about expanding into strategic sectors like manufacturing, information technology, agriculture, healthcare, and tourism. And as Debswana, we have positioned ourselves in such a manner that our transition strategy is aligned to the national interest.
Thank you very much, Gigi. I think it's clear that Debswana has really done a lot looking at the future. You're now going underground. There are lots of exciting things happening, but you've also done a lot along the way to build up the company and ensure that it takes the economy along with it. So I'd like to move to you, Mishek, in terms of companies that have come in to support Debswana's vision and to help it be sustainable into the future. And Botswana Oil is very much a critical part of that. Can you please tell us about your partnership with Debswana? You have a big collaboration with a company that goes into millions. Please speak a little bit more about that and what benefit it derives to the economy.
Thank you, and good afternoon, all. I think first and foremost, let me just highlight the role of Botswana Oil as the national company. Our key responsibility, security of supply, and citizen empowerment. As part of security of supply and business continuity, the mines rank very high in our security of supply emergency response metrics. So hence the key focus on mining operations and especially the ultimate collaboration with Debswana. So I think as part of the collaborations, smart partnerships and smart collaborations, Debswana and Botswana Oil made a very bold move a few years ago to look at the fuel supply for Debswana and signed an understanding and collaboration partnership over 5 years to supply Debswana with about 8 billion dollar worth of fuel. Now, as you know, the majority of our mines, one of the key cost drivers is fuel. So besides the partnership to drive citizen empowerment, one of the key focus areas is also to help with cost management, drive efficiencies, as the colleagues in the mines did indicate. Efficiencies in the mining sector is everything. And with such a big cost component driven by fuel, it's imperative that we play our role in supporting the mines, especially looking at other alternative solutions as the world is looking at cleaner fuels. We must also take lead in looking at alternatives for the mines. And I think before I go to the partnership, just highlight, we are collaborating with Debswana to look at lower carbon fuels such as biodiesels, which there has been quite keen interest here in Botswana by a lot of entrepreneurs who want to produce biodiesel, but they didn't have a captive market. Therefore, Debswana and Botswana Oil, we are available to provide that captive market and working with the regulator to formalize the fuel specifications for biodiesel, for example, so that we can procure it and not only supply Debswana, but the key there, an opportunity that we see is actually supporting many entrepreneurs that will be able to produce biodiesel. Coming back to the partnership, so this was really a bold move, recognizing that the service was previously provided by a foreign company with the fear that there might not be local capacity to deliver the service. So Debswana entrusted us with the service to supply them with fuel, but particularly looking at the opportunities that will arise for citizen companies in the transportation and other value chain activities. Coupled with that, Botswana Oil also started a major milestone where we started importing 90% of the country's volume. That actually transformed Botswana Oil into a mega company where we jumped from, a previous year turnover of 3 billion to about 14 billion this ended year. But what I think is important is the deliberate decision by government to empower Botswana Oil to create beneficiation of this critical resource for this country. Now that enables us to do a lot of things we were not able to do previously, especially financing some of our citizen empowerment initiatives. So some of the initiatives including supporting capacity building in the transportation, in infrastructure development, compliance with the industry, but also through capital working arrangements where a lot of the companies that buy from us and our supply companies with captive business, we are able to enter into session arrangements and therefore alleviate some of the working capital arrangements. So one of the biggest opportunities that arose out of the Debswana partnership was starting with the transportation, where we contracted 4 citizen companies to transport Debswana fuel. We started at 3 million in the initial phases, but this ended year, we spent as high as 64 million on the 4 citizen companies, growing from a few trucks to, I think they started with about a collective of 13 trucks. Now they are up to 61 trucks that support the contract. So maybe I should pause there. Just wanted to highlight the benefit, one of the import mandate, the critical role fuel plays in the mining industry, and the importance of supporting the mines, one in managing the costs and also looking at alternative fuel solutions to manage the carbon footprint as he highlighted and work with them on the energy transition.
Thank you very much. And I think that last point, which was also highlighted by yourself, Gigi, is the importance of ensuring that we've got clean energy that supports the mining industry, because this is very critical now when we talk about Botswana positioning itself as a major global player. Those sustainability issues do become very critical. So just moving on to you, Remasupe, we know that none of this would be possible if it wasn't for the banking sector making sure that we actually do have the financing to enable all of these activities. Can you talk about some of the tailored solutions that Standard Chartered Bank offers to the mining industry to help both local and international investment? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Soso. Thank you, Mabeo. That's a much more appropriate name. Let me start off first by referring to what Gigi said earlier on in relation to the 13.6 billion that he spoke about that they will require. And of course, answer the call that it requires people with deep pockets. Standard Chartered has got those deep pockets. We are ready to be able to have conversations and assist you in what it is that you guys are doing. And the rest of the miners in the room, we stand ready to be able to work with you on all of these issues. Now, if you allow me, again, Mabeo, to say that these deep pockets are not going anywhere. There is a little bit of confusion that because we are selling our retail business, therefore Standard Chartered Bank is leaving the country. Let me make it very clear right now. We are not leaving the country. We've been here for 128 years, and we hope to be here for another 128 years. So we stand ready to be able to provide all the billions that you are asking for, sir. Now, in mining, generally there are 2 things. It's those deep pockets in terms of financing that we can talk to, but the financing opportunities are pretty vanilla, right? We will have export credit facilities. You will have reserve-based lending, where we are able to lend them on the basis of the reserves that they have got. And you will have DFI-backed solutions that you are able to provide to all those who require. That's the financing side. Most importantly, though, there is a second tier to what it is that banks do generally. There is the advisory portion. And this is where we stand ready to be able to do a lot of work. In the advisory portion, Standard Chartered has got a a group of people with deep knowledge to be able to assist in every single area that one can think of. But just to name a few, the mining and metals team have got lots of experience in mining, in mergers and acquisitions, in credit rating, in economic research, sustainable financing that has been spoken to already, debt capital markets, and investment banking. So we've got a lot of advisory that we can bring to the fore, and this has already started. We're having conversations on capital structuring with one of the large entities in the country, and we are quite happy that this is progressing quite well. We are also looking at credit ratings for one of the large entities within the country. Basically, this demonstrates our prowess in terms of advisory side. Sustainability-linked loans, we stand ready to be able to do this, and we've worked with two companies in the country to be able to assist them to progress the sustainability ratings. It's not just doing sustainability-linked loans, but it's also knowing how to be able to do it well and how to be able to get yourself a rating in relation to your sustainability products that you offer. We've also gone further and availed in the country a sixth foreign currency in relation to renminbi. And we are working with RMB financing that we're able to give to those who procure materials from outside the country. I spoke earlier on about ECA products that we've got. You are able to then pay this off directly into wherever it is that you're at with those six currencies that I'm talking to. So there's a lot that can be done, both in the financing side and the advisory side, that stands ready to do.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I think maybe this is a good time to talk about the opportunities in mining Resiwawa, combined with the financing that Masupe has been talking about. How do we work together to create opportunities for citizen investment in the mining sector? We know that this is very capital heavy. Remasuke, you talked about advisory services, so not just giving out the financing, but also being able to help structure opportunities. Do you see that being something that we can leverage into the future, and what are your thoughts?
Right. So, when you start your mining processes, there's a lot of finances that goes towards the goods and services that you use in the mining industry. And it's called the supply chain. And we know, as the mining industry, that we utilize a lot of money towards the supply chain in order to make the mining more effective. And we agreed as the mining industry that we need to combine that purchasing power that we have in order to develop the industries within Botswana, more especially citizen industries that are wanting to supply or hatch onto the supply chain of the mining industry. And we have developed what we call a supply development program, where we want citizens to participate in the supply chain of the mining industry. And all the mining companies have agreed to it. At one point, there were 14 companies, and I think we've now dwindled down to 9, but I think we'll go back to 14, or even 20 companies in the not too distant future. So at the end of the day, the mining companies have agreed to assist citizens to tag onto their supply chain. And I can tell you, so far we've done a lot in terms of getting those companies to participate. But we've also said you don't just necessarily want the odd supplier who hop across the border to Johannesburg or across the seas to China, bring back whatever goods, and then they sell to the company. Because that's really just empowering the one individual. So we've said that let's look at manufacturing in Botswana and say that by manufacturing, one, you are circulating the funds or the finances within the country. And secondly, you are empowering more people than one, because when you create a manufacturing unit, you are employing people to manufacture. Secondly, you are also empowering people in the finance sector, because for you to have a manufacturing unit, you need raw materials to be transported to that unit. And once the goods are finished, you need another set of transporter to take the finished goods to the market. So again, you are creating the transport sector, the manufacturing sector, and the finance sector, like he's saying, you know, to be able to circulate the money within Botswana. So this is what the mining industry is trying to do, to rejuvenate those three sectors and ensure that they are productive. And I can tell you, there's a lot of manufacturing that is taking place, even in areas that we thought were beyond us. And you won't believe it, that we are in Botswana manufacturing earth-moving equipment.
Wow.
In Botswana.
I think that deserves a clap. That's fantastic.
And we just want to move from that. You know, I think earth-moving is probably the toughest. And I know we've got people who are wanting right now, they're looking for partners in Botswana to manufacture crushers and screens in this country. And anybody who is keen on that, they can come and see me. There's a group of people who are saying, we want to bring this technology into Botswana and use the platform of Botswana as an investment base. Because as previous speakers have said, Botswana is renowned for its investment base. And use Botswana to actually supply the northern part of SADC and in fact the rest of Africa with goods that are manufactured in Botswana. And the opportunities are there. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Rasiwao. So I think that's a good time to speak with you, Gadifele. Debswana has long leveraged its resources to support other areas of the economy. And we know that you have a citizen economic empowerment program that has been talked about quite a lot. How is this contributing to the broader goal of transitioning from a government-led economy into an industrialized and diversified economy?
Yeah, no, thank you very much. As Debswana, we have been very deliberate. Our journey with SIP has started in 2019. And 2019 until end of last year, we had spent 23 billion to local businesses. And this 23 billion has actually created 18.4 million jobs. So that's a true example of how committed and how serious we are. We are not yet there, but we have done a lot so far because we have taken a bit of some risks. We have insourced some of the services that eventually or before nobody would have ever thought that those services would be provided by the local suppliers. For example, drilling, crushing, you can name them. But we are very committed to make sure that we support the locals and we'll continue to support them. But we have supported local procurement. Like I said before, now we are looking at now going into manufacturing. And the other thing that we're also looking at is that some of these technical services, we need to find a way of diversifying them. We need to encourage the locals to make sure that they go outside the borders to look for other opportunities. Because the businesses that we are currently supporting, we only don't give them jobs. We give them jobs and we also provide entrepreneurship development programs to make sure that they run sustainable businesses. And so far, like I said, we are running one of the most productive and efficient and cost-effective operations. And these operations are run and supported by the local business partners. You can actually see that the amount of effort that we have applied in building Botswana. But for us to continue to grow, I would like to encourage the business partners not to restrict themselves to Debswana, because we also have to impart this knowledge and ensure that we encourage others. But for us to do that is for them to look outside and make sure that they provide services outside this country. But some few information has actually reached my office that some of our business partners, they're actually looking some opportunities at Angola and some they are at DRC, of which is something that we are looking at. And we're also looking at partnering with the Chamber of Mines to make sure that we encourage and support the industrialization and local manufacturing. Some of the things that we are targeting right now is HD pipes. We are also looking at recycling of rubber, and we're looking at explosives manufacturing on site, because currently we are importing from outside. So we'd like to encourage Botswana to make sure that we partner through the Chamber of Mines and build capacity and make sure that those services are manufactured on site and provided to the locals.
Thank you so much. I think it's really great what you've been doing, particularly building the capacity for Botswana businesses that you're supporting to be able to expand outside the country. I think that's exactly the sort of initiatives that we need. Can you talk a little bit very quickly about what are some of the challenges that you've experienced so far, and how do we overcome them so that in the future we can really ensure that we've got the right platform to drive sustainable growth?
Some of the challenges that we have faced so far is we see some of the businesses collapsing. That's why we have introduced an entrepreneurship development program. That's that we ensure that as much as we give opportunities to Botswana, we educate them such that they know how to run a free cash flow businesses. And the other thing that we are also facing is we have some few incidents of fronting has also been reported. But is an encouragement that we need to build confidence in ourselves. There's no reason why you should front. If you need information or you are not sure, please, our offices are open. Come and ask our SIP office. They'll redirect you so that you follow the right processes. We want to build sustainable businesses, and we want to build sustainable business partners that can compete internationally. But if you front, then you are denying yourself opportunity, and you are also denying other Botswana opportunity that could be doing this from the bottom of their heart with a view that they can build the skills that we can eventually export internationally.
Thank you very much. Rema Supe, citizen empowerment, citizen development. How does the banking sector come in to facilitate all these great initiatives that has been done by the mining sector?
Okay, thank you. The banking sector generally plays in terms of the SIP program. They facilitate some of the invoices that come out of this particular program that Gigi is talking to. But smart partnerships basically require that we bring to the fore that which we have strength on. And in terms of building local capacity, we believe in bringing innovative products into the market, which might be different from what it is that might be required by those entities that we have just spoken to. We believe that we've got huge expertise in relation to ESG generally, and we bring that to the fore in conversations that we have had with those that we've spoken to. We also believe that as a connector bank, we have opportunity to be able to connect these entities with the outside world, for them to be able to source not just materials, but also knowledge for the specific businesses that they are wanting to do. And those are the sort of things that we believe that we are very strong at and would rather bring to the fore to be able to achieve all of those things. What we stand ready to do, ma'am, is that we've been able to bring in huge projects in Angola, for instance, in relation to solar power in the rural areas. And that has basically changed the way that lives are for those rural people. And we want to be able to bring such kind of capacity to this market. We have gone into Tanzania and transformed their railway processes by assisting them to be able to renovate their railway process. And we want to be able to do those same things in this country because that's where we are strongest. Bring that to the fore in the smart partnerships that we're talking about.
Okay, thank you very much. And just still on that subject now, can we move on to mineral beneficiation? We know it's a critical part of Botswana's strategy and agenda going into the future. Can you talk a little bit about how Standard Chartered supports that and supports broader sort of economic development?
Right. We play in the whole spectrum in relation to the diamond industry. We currently remain the largest funder of the whole diamond industry. Generally, in mining, we've exposed ourselves to $500 million in total. But what we have not played in that much is in the diamond jewelry business. We play with ODC when they sell their diamonds. We play with Debswana. We have played with Lucara some time ago. That's basically where we choose to play, and not so much in the beneficiation portion. And there are reasons to this, which I'm quite happy to elaborate on at a different point in time.
Thank you very much. So let's move on to yourself, Mishek. Botswana Oil has done quite a lot itself to support citizen economic participation. You spoke about the arrangement you have on the fuel side and how it's supporting citizens. Can you talk more broadly about your citizen empowerment program and how you've supported the development of small enterprises? What is the aspiration in the future?
Thank you very much. I think more like Debswana, we have a citizen empowerment program that recognizes many pillars across the value chain where citizens can participate in a more deliberate manner. There is procurement. We also have where you have reservation and preferential schemes. And then you also have more the next level, which is now the supplier development programs, where now no longer about asking an enterprise if they can fulfill your requirements, but being able to assess where they have shortcomings and work with them in terms of closing those gaps so that they can comply with your requirements and enable them to participate. And then entrepreneurship development as well to ensure they run sustainable businesses. So we have a SIP program that cuts across the value chain. I did highlight the biggest opportunity we've always seen was on transportation, where for many years citizen companies didn't participate really across the entire value chain, and we believed the easiest of them all was transportation. Not to suggest that it's easy to run, but in terms of where we can unlock opportunities. Just to give you an idea, in terms of value, just this past year, we spent about R1 billion on transportation, of which about 43% of that we spent on citizen transport companies as we continue to grow them. There are other areas such as infrastructure development projects. Similarly, in the last 2 years, I think we spent about R2 billion on our projects. The majority of that, near 49%, spent on citizen companies. And it's through deliberate efforts where you create opportunities, even at tendering, that citizens can partner with companies that have the requisite expertise to be able to meaningfully participate in our projects. And for some of the simpler services, for example, such as civil works, we actually reserve those for citizens and allow partnerships in the areas where some significant expertise is required. So going into the future, we continue to develop our citizen empowerment program. Like I said, now that the business is more settled after the importation mandate, financial-wise also performing better, be able to finance these initiatives. And beyond that, also look at other bigger projects we are undertaking, such as the coal-to-liquid project, which will also not only help the economy diversify, but also create meaningful opportunities for citizens during construction, during operation. This project will create many sub-industries where we believe citizens will participate. In the renewable energy space, we'll also produce some of the renewable energy products that we will be able to support the market and some of our partners like Debswana.
Wonderful, thank you very much. We're drawing to a close, but before we do, just a quick question to yourself, Gadifele, since we're talking about the future of mining. What can you tell us about post-diamond mining in Jwaneng? What are some of the initiatives that you're putting in place to prepare for when the diamonds do come to an end?
Yeah, we are very much committed with regards to ensuring that there is continued economic activity at Jwaneng as a town. Because as we ordinarily know that most of the mining towns change ghost after post-mining. We have a lot of dreams that we have already started implementing. First and foremost, we are branding Jwaneng. We are going to brand it in such a manner that when you get into Jwaneng, you can actually have a feel that you are entering a town that is hosting the biggest diamond mine in the world. So that exercise has already started. And secondly, Jwaneng has been positioned on a strategic position along the Trans-Kalahari Highway, the road which connects South Africa, Botswana, and Namibia. And we do have Goitseone Park. So we are busy commercializing this park so that it becomes a tourist attraction center. And we are building an art and craft that we are going to link it with the park. And eventually the park and that art and craft to be handed over to the community. We have also looked at the vegetation around Jwaneng. And we have realized that the vegetation is very good for small stock farming. So therefore, we have embarked on a project that we call Diamond Tomati. We are going to build infrastructure which is going to support the local farmers to be able to export mutton internationally. We know that as Botswana, we have always been good from farming because this country is what it is today because of agriculture. So therefore, we want to go back to agriculture, and the journey has already started. Now we are busy partnering with the local farmers to ensure that they build the numbers, as we are busy planning to build that infrastructure that will enable them to process meat and export it internationally. We are also partnering with the local leadership. We are looking at building a CBD in Jwaneng because we want to boost the economic activity, and conversations has already started with the financiers, and we are moving on the right direction. And also, we are transferring or transforming Jwaneng into a sporting hub. It's not a secret. Jwaneng has got the best sporting facilities in Botswana across all the sporting code. So we have already started. We are empowering the local communities to participate in sports such that post-diamond mining, the community can feed themselves through sport. And currently, we use the same sport to ensure that we develop the surrounding community. We do charity events through sports, and we look at the vulnerable communities and the needs and ensure that we partner with them and come up with projects that will be sustainable. And one thing that is very close to our heart is provision of potable water. As you all know, potable water is a fundamental basic human right. We are currently building a road to Makaharapa where we are getting water that we are supplying the surrounding community, because we want to make sure that we make it easy and simple for the community to continue to have access or supply of water, even beyond the life of mine. So those are the issues that we are looking at. And we also have got an airport. And this airport, we are currently making sure that it allows international landing. Because as we transform Jwaneng into a tourist hub, that airport will also be operational. It's actually a very beautiful airport. So these are the dreams that we do have about that town, and I can assure you that even post-mining, we will continue to remember that Jwaneng at some point has fed this country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gadifele. I think that was a really great way of concluding the discussion. But before I invite our panelists to say one final word quickly on their thoughts in 1 minute on new opportunities and smart partnerships, can I ask if we can take 1 or 2 questions from the floor, and then we will conclude. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Horata Manyapelo Makinon. I'm the Deputy Chair of Women in Mining, Botswana. My question is for from Mr. Siwawa Hoyagwa. The question I'm going to ask is the question I asked 2 years ago, asking at this very same summit, how intentional are your organizations with empowering women? We want a piece of the procurement pie. We've been hearing how it's going with SEEP, the plans with SEEP for the locals, but there's nothing speaking to women empowerment, women-owned businesses. We are registered on the databases, Botswana Oil, Debswana, we are registered, but we have never received even one RFQ. We've come to believe that not because we are not able to or we don't have the capability, we've realized that it's simply because we are not part of the boys group. So how can you help us? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll hand over to you, Gadifele, to start, and then the rest of the panelists. Resiwawa, you can also weigh in, please, if you would like to. Go ahead, Gigi.
Want me to answer? Is it not for Resiwawa?
All right. Look, I think the issue is that we have to accept women as part of the structures within the mining industry. And it cuts across all the mines, as far as I know, that we will accept women to participate in the procurement process. As far as I know, when we developed our supply development program, it was not discriminatory at all. Anybody is allowed to come through that process and encouraged and supported in whatever way we can to ensure that they participate within the supply development program. And I can mention a couple of companies that have been on the supply development program. Some of them do have women directors. Some of them are, they do have women as entities themselves who have participated in this thing. So the issue is, I think, to be able to, where you have a challenge, I think, is to break into the process itself. And some of the companies, that's why I was looking more towards my left, some of the companies do have processes that you have to complete in order for you to be to have that request for a quotation to be sent to you. So it's those processes that we think we need to refine a little bit more to be able to enable more women to participate. But I can tell you there are women that are participating in the supply chain of the mining industry right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we can take one more question, please.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. I'm Nancy Khengwenyane. My question is directed to all of you. Whoever responds, good enough for me. The first question, which came about when Kometawo was speaking, was the issue of sustainability and low carbon development. Now, we get to export the very materials that allow for carbon development in a sustainable manner. I would like to know, what are we doing in terms of charity begins at home, starting to use those minerals for our own low carbon development without, of course, forgoing the revenue we need. And then for the financing sector, when you do finance, you spoke about sustainability, but do your conditions require sustainability? And do you monitor that before you finance investors? Because that's very important, again, in achieving sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Who would like to take those questions?
Okay, I can start with the finance side. This thing about smart partnerships, as I said earlier on, is everybody bringing their strengths into the pot in order for us to be able to progress forward quickly for a shared vision and a shared benefit. And yes, we definitely do finance sustainability. We do it at a very large scale. And for those large entities that have come to have conversations with us, or those we have gone to have conversations with, we have discussed this and we're progressing it. We're about to sign a sustainability deal with one of the large entities in the country, as I said earlier on. And as I said, but many of the rest of the other 9 commercial banks in the country are offering sustainability also, and they are at various stages in terms of the scale of the entity. So you should be able to find a partner within the finance sector that is able to assist at any level of the continuum in terms of scale. Thank you.
Thank you. The first part of the question, Resiwawa or Gadifele, would you like to take that?
Didn't get it clearly.
Sorry, can you repeat the first part of your question? And please speak a little bit louder. It was a little bit difficult for us to hear.
Thank you. My first question was, given that this is in reference to copper, for instance, I think Resiwawa and others on the floor, Komekao, may be able to respond to this. The question is, we mine those minerals that are required for carbon sustainability development, low carbon development. My question is, what plans, policies, or strategies do we have in place to ensure that low carbon development takes place in Botswana without foregoing the revenue we need from the exports? Is that clear?
Got it?
Thank you.
I think, as indicated earlier, Botswana still remains underexplored. And there's a lot of exploration that is going on currently, a push, a drive to try and move in that direction of those low carbon minerals that we have. And believe you me, there's significant quantities of those in Botswana that, from a conceptual point of view. So the issue is to do exploration that will drive to feasibility, that will then drive to opening of those particular mines. But yes, there is a focus to try and move towards those renewable energy minerals that are available in the country. And to try and reduce, in some extent, where we see the utilization of high carbons as a form of energy that we have in this country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I was going to ask a follow-up question, but I think we are running out of time. I think with that said, in the interest of time, if we can just take 1 minute for all of our panelists to just close and just leave the audience with one specific message around new opportunities, smart partnerships, in just 1 minute, starting with you, Resiwawa.
Yes. Botswana has been known as the diamond address. You want to come, you are looking for diamonds, you come to Botswana. What we should be looking for in the future is that Botswana must be a polymetallic address. Any mineral that you can think of, you should come to Botswana. And I say this with confidence because when you look north, south, east, west of Botswana, there is some mineral that you'll find here. The issue is how to get to it and how to produce that mineral in terms of profitability. And, you know, there's been a lot of things that have been done, both by the private sector and the government, to ensure that these minerals are available and productive. Look at infrastructure, the road infrastructure, the power line, national grid, the telecommunication system, and so forth and so forth. Those are enablers to ensure that these minerals are available for mining. And I think we are going to see a lot of those being mined in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Resiwa. I mean, yes, Resiwa.
Yes.
Gadifele, over to you.
Thank you. For me, the future is about intentional transition from dependency to diversification, from extraction to innovation. We have to make sure that we work together, the government, private sectors, and global investors to shape the future of our country going forward. Smart partnerships, they are very, very critical for the success of this country. And we also need to know that we can no longer rely solely on diamonds. We also need to look at other minerals to ensure that we continue to drive the economy of this nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mishek, your last words, please.
Thank you. I think my last word on the smart partnerships, I can indicate that we've done well, for example, on transportation through trucks. The one area we are looking at is how we can enable the railway industry, for example. Also in some developments of some of their rail networks, for example. We believe for Botswana, Namibia, Walvis Bay remains a very critical route for dry goods and fuel into Botswana. It's an area for collaboration with the railway, for example, in developing that area. Another area we are looking at is working with associations. I think the women here are actually saying the opportunities presented by, just throwing out a tender with no specific reservations does not help their cause. There's probably an area of improvement there in looking at how we look at procurement for not only women and youth, not limited to reservation, preference schemes, but also look at the reservation schemes.
Thank you, Mishek. And you, Mpho?
I'll be very short. We're not going anywhere. We're building you a world-class investment bank right at your doorstep. So be ready for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this panel discussion. Thank you very much to our esteemed panelists, and thank you for those great questions. Have a good afternoon.